Hello, folkers. I'm Copper Kelly.
And I'm Jodie Lucas, and you're welcome to the Folkin Around Podcast,
your favourite country music podcast. And Joe, tell the lovely people who are listening, who did we talk to this week?
So we talked to the absolutely iconic Tina D. Parton. It was a roller coaster of emotions. There was highs, there was lows, laughs, tears, everything. Such an incredible person, an incredible story, and more importantly, a really special message to send out to our listeners, really. So it was one I really, really enjoyed, and we get to find out how Tina came to be Tina and what life is like being Tina.
Absolutely. I learned a lot myself, even just about the drag queen scene and Sean Nós as well. She told us a bit about that, and she also tells us a bit of a ghost story towards the end of the interview, so make sure you stick around for that. But now, without further ado, we'll get into the interview. See you after.
So thank you so much for joining us, Miss Tina D. Parton. You're very welcome onto the Folkin Around Podcast.
Well, thank you very, very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm so delighted to have the opportunity to speak with two gorgeous people.
Stop you.
It's a compliment coming from you, obviously. So for anybody that's sort of watching us on YouTube or listening in on the audio version, why don't you give people a bit of a background of who you are and who they're listening to and who they're looking at?
Fabulous. So, how do I sum this up without getting arrested? So Tina D. Parton is the world's only Sean Nós dance and drag queen based in County Offaly in the heart of Ireland. Country girl through and through, whether it be on stage or whether it be on the bloody farm, shoving out shit. She's still a country girl. I started performing as Tina D. Parton back in April of 2019. And between April 19 to March 20, I traveled the length and breadth of Ireland doing every straight bar, gay bar, bingo hall, funeral. Fair enough. You don't want to ask about that one. But I did some of the craziest things, some of the less crazy things. But then when Corona hit, I came home and started isolating with my grandparents in County Offaly. And it was a big shock, one, because I was always on the road. And while they had seen pictures of Tina, they'd never seen her in real life. They'd never seen her in person. So after about 6 days at home, depression hit very badly because there was no going anywhere. There was nothing. I was like, okay, I need something. So I sat down, spoke with Granny and Grandad and said, look, I want to do an internet show. And we're like, yeah, of course. So 19th of March, I started the first show of At Home with Tina D, which was an hour of shits and giggles, sitting on my couch in my bedroom with a guitar, doing some of the most commonly known Irish songs known to all of us. Why? Because I sing so fucking badly. At least everyone knows the song, so I won't have to worry.
They can sing along with you, can't they?
They can sing. Yeah.
Exactly. That's it. And I did an hour of that, did that for 8 weeks. And then I was kind of like, everyone was doing a live. Everyone was doing an Instagram live, a Facebook live, a YouTube live, looking live from the bathroom. And I said, I need something different. One thing that I missed about the country music scene, whether it be the dancing, whether it be the singing, whether it be whatever, was the people, the communication, the chats.
Yeah.
And for anyone that knows me well at all, I would chat for Ireland, England, Scotland and Brexit together. So I was like, okay, I need to change. So I started a little chat show called Cup of Tea with Tina D.
Great.
Currently, as it stands, we have, tonight is our 126th edition. 26th edition of the show. Wow. We've had on 578 appearances from 15 different countries, whether it be drag artists, singers, dancers, pole dancers, strippers. That was a good night. We've had a mixture of everything and anything, but always been open-minded.
Oh, yeah.
And Tina D has lots of big plans in future, thanks to Jesus. One being getting out of Ireland, as I'm going to Canada in a very close future.
Oh, very good.
Exciting times ahead. And obviously, I want to talk about sort of early Tina, but obviously, as you've mentioned, Cup of Tea with Tina D, did you expect it to take off as it has? Because it's kind of its own brand, if you like, now, isn't it? Everyone knows it feels like.
It's, to be wholeheartedly honest, when I started, I never would have imagined it'd be where it was now. Now, bearing in mind, nothing like this was ever done before in Ireland. And especially the fact there was a drag queen doing it.
Yeah. Did that move you though? Like how people were going to take that?
100%. 100%. Look, I'm in the heart of Ireland. I'm in a very small rural town where you can't go down the road dressed as I do. Otherwise, every wife would be killing you because they're sleeping with their husbands. But
all the fellas be looking at you. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, honey, Grindr is funny. Trust me. But in saying that, yes, it was very nerve-wracking at the start because I noticed that there was a lot of people from the local village either watching the show, tuning in, or texting in afterwards. And I was like, okay, Lily and Johnny down the roads now knows who I am.
Yeah.
Which then creates the fear of, well, can I walk outside the house without getting better? You know, there's just that fear of, will I get attacked for doing what I do? Because there's still a stigma. Like while the world of drag is in the public eye constantly, whether it be Danny LaRue, Lily Savage, they met Mrs. Doubtfire, Mrs. Brownswell, they're all form of drag.
RuPaul as well.
But they don't want it on their doorstep, do they? I think that's the thing.
Correct. And look, the country music scene, when I started the drag, some of the country music singers, because I had worked before that, I had worked in the country music scene for up to 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So when I turn around and start telling people, well, this is what I do, it's kind of like, oh.
It's the unknown, isn't it? I think that people are just scared of the unknown. It's because, I don't know, there is parts of Ireland, and I see it obviously not living in Ireland. I come over to Ireland, as you know, quite a bit. Well, I did before obviously everything went mad with the world. I think certain areas, and certainly obviously like where you're from, they just don't see this every day, and they don't understand, and they don't see. I think people think that it's a choice. It's a lifestyle choice that you choose. Correct. They don't realize that this is you through and through.
You said a word there, and it's a word that's come up a lot lately. Lifestyle. I have, no matter where I bring a guest on from, no matter what part of the world, that word is so stigmatic with us. Because they just assume this is who we are. Now, unfortunately, as you said, it's the unknown, because people don't realize there's many different stages, because you have a drag queen, right?
Yeah.
Then you have a cross-dresser, which is a whole different world of its own.
Right.
Then you have the world of transgender people. And people sometimes just mash it all together and assume that that is what it is. And it's exactly down to the word lifestyle. Drag is an art form. It's like singing. It's like dancing. Christ, it's like pole dancing. It is a form of an art. Now, does this mean that I wake up every morning looking like this? Oh, hell no. There's about 5 hours of cement, tarmac, polyfiller, getting out the mask.
I mean, Copper does that every morning as well, to be fair.
Yeah. We're just chatting, but yeah, you're saying it took you 3-4 hours to do that today. I can't believe that. Fair play to you.
It's foundation upon foundation upon foundation. The way I put it is, it's practice. Like, do I like putting in 3 to 4 hours every day doing this? Some days yes, some days no. But at the end of the day, if you don't put in the time and effort now, God only knows what I look like after the world of Corona, the world, you know what I mean? It's like a singer. If a singer doesn't put in the time now, learning new material, or even going through the material that the person used before and actually sitting down and going through each song properly, then when the world opens back up, it'll be the same person with the same shitty old songs if they don't, you know, you have to improve and you have to grow.
You grow,
evolve. If these are time to develop and evolve and keep going. And
absolutely. And look, for us in the drag world, it's changing every day. There's new type of looks, there's new type of wigs, there's new type of dresses. You know, it's like everything. It's growing every day. And for me, I feel as if I can just keep trying new things, it means when the world opens back open, that I can nearly go with a new sense of who I am. Yeah. Or where I want to take my art. But it's down to that word growth. It's like lifestyle growth is another word that everyone needs in regards to what art. It's like, and it goes back to what you said about my show. Did I ever think it'd grow? No, I never did think it would grow, because where I was very stigmatic to be one doing drag, two being gay. And the fact here I was a raving homosexual in the middle of fucking Ireland in my grandmother's parlour room doing a virtual drag show. Yeah. People all across the world without them even knowing it.
Yeah. You hid it from your grandparents at first, did you?
I did a month. So it was my coming out story. Is not, you know, like Diana Ross bursting out of a wardrobe going, I am who I am. Yeah. But I suppose I had dabbled in the world of drag for a couple of years. And I wouldn't, now looking back, I'm like, good God, I wish someone had pulled me aside and go, this is how you do it. Or this is how you should bloody do it. But after... But
was there nobody around there that you could go to and say, I want help with this or anything? Did you know people at that point in your life?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I really didn't. I was busking in Galway, so in a university town, as we all know, which means it's very much evolving and new cultures coming in. And I saw a drag performer, and I was like, wow. But I grew up knowing the likes of Danny LaRue, or Dame Edna Everage. So the world of drag was there. If I had took the time, maybe at the time, to discover what it really was. Now, at that time, I was going through what I call an identity crisis, because I never thought of this being this now. Because I was so unsure of myself. So personally, one, you had the thing of gay. I wasn't even sure what road I was driving down. Yeah. That took a long time to figure it out. So in April, a lot of shit hit the fan, whether it was at home, it was at college. And a friend of mine, who I'll always be grateful for, she's down in Limerick, said, hey, let's go to Dublin. Let's go to the George. I'll paint you up properly. We'll get a wig and we'll go in and see how you got. I remember walking in nervous as fuck, because I never was around gay people in this type of way before, and I never knew what to expect. I walked in, and here was drag queens on the stage, larger than I, talking about stuff that it's not PG rated. So I won't reiterate what they used to say. But in saying that, I remember walking in, and after 5 minutes, it's like, this is where I'm actually meant to be.
Felt right to you.
And then I think personally, I just didn't feel comfortable saying anything to anyone because I started gigging as a teen. And I did about a month of gigging before I had friends that were on my back. I'm like, you need to be honest with your grandparents and your parents and say, this is who I am. So I remember one night I sat Granny down and I told her. She was like, oh, for God's sake, I knew for years.
Nothing get past her.
Nothing, no. But you know what? I am forever grateful for having a great set of grandparents and parents that understood and respected my decision.
Yeah.
That this is what I wanted to do.
Did that push you to go to sort of go further and think this is where I want to explore and things because of that support at home?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Because I had something that most drag queens couldn't. I could do Sean Nós dancing.
And you're an amazing dancer. I for one, my dance teacher, but I for one can say that you're an incredible dancer. And I mean, where did the dancing fit into the drag world? Like you say, like you're the only person doing it. Were you always sure that you didn't want to give that part up?
Actually, that's a thought there. So I remember when I met the first drag queen, which was Veda lady in George. Adore her. But I remember the friend that was with me said, you need to go up and tell her who you are. And I'm like, I was nervous as fuck. I couldn't talk. I got to the stage I couldn't even put words together. So here was this drag queen, 7 foot bloody tall. I'm like, hello.
You're not far off 7 foot yourself, are you?
Is that what platform's on? Or?
I know, but you see, she gets taller, and with the nerves, my knees started to buckle, so I was getting smaller. But Maeve said, look, tell her that you're an Irish dancer. And I was like, okay. Because it's two things just didn't click at the time. So I said it to her. I said, I'm Tina D. Parton. I'm an Irish dancing drag queen from Galway.
Was that the first time you'd said it?
Yeah. First time I ever said it or admitted it. And I was like, wow. Once I said it, it just sank that this is it. And every time I do an interview with a guest, or because what I do is before bringing a guest on, there's about 2 sets of phone calls between me and the person. But every time, it's like the first time all over again. And they're going, well, tell me. So they go, oh, tell me a bit about your show and you. And I'm like, well, I'm Tina D. Parton. I'm an Irish dancing drag queen. And I'm like, oh my God. And
is it almost like you're still trying to believe it in your own head?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And then there's days where I will be, for example, even preparing for my own online show, and sometimes going through picking songs because I do lip syncing.
Yeah. But
I use songs of sometimes friends that I've worked with. For example, Chantel Patton, who's one of your guests.
Yeah.
Chantel actually met the first real version of Tina D back 2-3 years ago, back in Glortira. Because I walked in one night in Glortira as what was then Tina D, which was a rough version compared to now. But I would use her songs. But sometimes when I'm going through music and I hear artists I used to work with and lost communication with, and it's like a dart going like, how much has changed? My circles have changed. The people I used to talk to don't talk to now.
It's not always a bad thing though, is it? Because you get to actually see who's there, who's on your side, who's genuine. Correct.
And that's another thing too. Whether it be the gay community, whether it be the drag scene, there's so much pettiness and jealousy and everything about getting one up on the other. When you become a victim of what I call the cancellation culture, and you have to realize who your real friends are, it is quite shocking. Quite shocking. The country music business, from what I remember, was supportive at the time when I was performing and everything. But I remember when I came out, some people were there, others left. But I wasn't upset. I respected their decision and I just went, okay. And then the people, whoever said that were there to support me, I stayed with them. And it's a life lesson that I'm forever grateful to my grandmother and grandfather and mother and father for kind of teaching me. It's kind of like, look, not everyone's going to accept what you do. Whether it be the world of drag, whether it be gay, whether it be a boy with makeup on. Not everyone's going to accept it.
But that's okay.
But that's okay. Because I don't accept their BS either.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's the way to accept things or not accept things. You know, everyone is free to have their own opinions, their own thoughts or anything. And, you know, but there's a respectful way of doing it and there's a non-respectful way, isn't it? And unfortunately, you know, you've been victim to both sides of that, haven't you? I mean, I sort of say, if you've got nothing nice to say, just don't say anything at all. But obviously there are those people that have to have their say because they think it's relevant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, to me, it's human nature. We are our own worst enemies. Sometimes we know when to shut our mouth and sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, this is one thing I will be forever grateful to Corona. I know with Corona and the pandemic has been a time of much hassle, much hardship, much, strife. But one thing came out of it that I think is the most beautiful thing ever. It made people wake up and appreciate who's around them, their family, their friends. For the first time, maybe for a lot of families, the parents are getting to know their children.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And for me, I got time to rest. One. Well, actually, that's not true. I don't sleep anyway. But it gave me time.
I can literally get messages from you at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I always think, do you not sleep?
But it gave me time to get to know people, get to know my art, get to know my craft. And
get to know yourself.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, when I found out who I kind of was, I was like, oh.
Do you not think you'd be as developed as Tina now had it not have been for Corona?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's actually a question someone asked me there a few months ago, and I think the answer is still the same. I came home. I came home to my roots.
Yeah.
So I was able to start putting my roots in Tina.
And do you think that Tina now are you still developing as Tina? Do you still have days where, can we talk about Thomas? Is Thomas still around on days,
Well, so, disclaimer, Maury, it's a man. It's a man, Maury. So the other side of me, he has his life too sometimes. I take over a lot. I'm a drag queen. I'm entitled to. But I think so. Thomas's life is lonely. It's a lonely life because just with the nature of the game, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes, I have family, which is fantastic. Never knocking that. Yes, there's neighbours. But it's a thing Granny said to me, there's none of my crowd around me. We all like to feel as if we belong. somewhere or belong in a crowd of people. And when you're not near that crowd of people, it's quite lonely. And Thomas is there. And slowly every day I find out a bit more about who I am as Thomas and a bit more who I am as Tina. But I think, and it goes back to the word that we used earlier, growth every day. Could be even a simple thing of looking in the mirror. Whether we use Thomas and going, okay, what shirt am I putting on today? Oh, kind of like that. Yeah, I look butch enough. Or do you know what I mean? And then, or even talking with people. Because previous to Corona, no one ever saw me out with drag. Because I kept my two lives separate. Right. And that was to protect my family. That was to protect my family. I separated my two lives. Whoever knew Thomas, whoever knew Tina, knew Tina. And that was it. Why? Damage control. If one life fucked up, the other one's protected.
It's a sad way to live, though.
Oh, yeah.
It must have, been really hard. And somebody who obviously knows Thomas and has known Thomas and, loves Thomas to pieces, when that sort of transition time sort of came in, it was last summer, wasn't it, that you kind of were public of this is who I am. And as somebody, as I say, who's close to Thomas, it almost answered a lot of questions that you didn't know were there. It put a lot of things together. And, I've always said to you, I'm nothing but proud of you as the person you are. Tina, Thomas, whoever you choose to be, you've got my love and support always. But I think for the people on the outside sort of looking in, obviously, I would have messages when you put out, for people that don't know, you put out a post, didn't you? And there was a picture of Thomas, there was a picture of Tina, and you explained the story. And there was so many mixed responses that I saw, and people would want to get into conversation about it. And my response to everybody was, speak to Tina or speak to Thomas and discuss this with them. It's of nobody else's, decision what they choose to do, whether I choose to bleach my hair blonde or keep it dark. It's my decision at the end of the day. You can have an opinion, but do I need to know that opinion? Not always. And it's kind of on a much bigger scale than that, obviously, for yourself. But it must be so hard to have those people that are just have that opinion, feel like they have to have that.
So the reason for that post back in last year, I think it was about May about May, I got an email one morning on my boy email address, and was from a TV program called Unreal Deal, which is a show on TG Casher, which is the Irish program service here in Ireland, and they ran a talent show which had Irish dancers many times. Thomas got an email, asked would he be on the show. And I remember being so proud to be asked. And I was like, if I did it as Thomas, I wouldn't have felt right. I wouldn't have felt right because I was fighting so hard to keep Tina alive and give Tina a purpose, a social purpose. So I remember I sat down, I was talking with friends. I had a very close friend in Dallas who I greatly adored. And I asked his opinion. I said, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking of going on the TV, the national television, dressed as a full-fledged woman and doing Irish dancing. And I remember he was saying, do it. So spoke with the family and was like, okay, this needs to happen. So what happened then was we went to Dublin, social distance, disclaimer out to everyone, it was all protected.
Yeah.
And we recorded the program. And I came home. And I then got an email 2 days before it was aired saying it's going out. And I remember I panicked because anyone who looked at me dancing would know who I was.
Mm.
You could just tell also my voice.
Yeah.
Sometimes Tina's voice can change, but the voice will give it away. And I was like, crap, if anyone's watching that and puts 2 and 2 together, my 2 lives are shattered.
Yeah.
And my family are going to get hurt. So that I rang the guy at the time and I said to him, I said, I need help. I want to write up something. So 4:00 in the morning, I wrote up the post. I went out on Facebook. I reactivated my mailed Facebook account saying, this was who I was. This is me. This is who the other side of me is. And this is how I'm living my life now. And whether you like it or not, like it, lump it.
Deal with it.
And I was sick of listening to BS. This is who I was. And it goes back to then what you said there, the reactions. The reactions, was good, there was bad, there was indifferent. At that time, I was going through there was a individual in Ireland who was trying to cancel me at the time. And my identity was being attacked every bloody day. And I was like, this just had enough. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in Tina style. So I announced the world who I was, and it's dead going. And it's dead blazing. And I had said to people, if they want to keep up to date with me, they can on the Tina account. And that was the way it was. Because since then, I'm not doing anything as a guy. I'm not doing any shows as a guy or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was actually a queen in England that had told me, keep the account there. That when you get rich and famous, you'll have 2 accounts. You can hide on the other one. But no, to be honest with you, it goes back to the word growth. Every time it grows bigger, bigger, and bigger. Now, I noticed that a lot of the people from my past life had come to my new life. But there was one night I did a show, and we called it the Coming Out Show. Where on Facebook,
I remember it.
The world to see, first time in God knows 2 years. 1 minute I was Tina, and I came back then as Thomas in a 3-piece suit. And it was.
And Thomas has style as well, can we say? I mean, obviously Tina is glamorous, but Thomas has style.
I'm getting there. I have a few nice stuff.
And I have to ask you, there's another person in your life as well I saw recently called Turner. Yeah, tell us about Turner.
Oh, you did your research.
I did a bit of research.
No, I'm loving it. Okay, so with the show, like I said, we bring on people from various walks of life. And I kind of, from the word go, always like to see more drag kings being involved and more publicity for them. And I now have a drag brother in Canada, Oliver Closeoff, who
great name.
he's one of a kind, and he's my best friend. And we met through Corona and everything like that. But we started doing drag king nights. So Oliver and our other brother Slicko said, Tina, why don't you turn the cards one night and paint as a king? I was like, you must be fucking joking me. No. I refused. I was like, no.
There's enough of them.
There's enough of them.
In the head.
I gave in. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And wow. Oh God. I was going through my closet, taking out my suits, going like, no, too fancy, no, I look old. And I'm like, oh. For the first time, I was going through my male closet looking for stuff. I'm like, what has my life come to? That night after, like, people think that on screen that my room is clean. Hell, behind the camera, my room's like bomb site. But for the first
time, 3 closets.
Yeah, for the first time in 2 years, I had suits all over the bloody bedroom. Going like, no. But go back to who Turner is. So, while Tina D. Parton is my female persona,
yes,
Turner or Parton is the alternative male. He was described as a coal miner, an oil miner from the 80s in Texas or Tennessee. And it was just a strange persona. But I actually, do you know what? I told this on the show and I said it to people. It was the first time in 2 years I felt confident going on camera as a man.
Mm.
Now, okay, I had a lot of extra bloody makeup on me. It was the first time I was there, half looking like a man, wearing my cowboy shirt, thinking I was God's gift. And the reaction was phenomenal because it was like, oh, wow, she can do both. I'm like, I'm versatile.
Yeah.
More ways than one. Anyway. But yeah, Turner is Tina's cousin that they don't really talk. And she only gets out of the closet once in a blue moon.
There's some bad blood there between
them. We won't see quite as much.
No. You never know. Life might change. He might come out in a couple of weeks. Who knows? When all of Tina's stuff is sent to Canada, he might have to come out. So might be any alternative.
Well, at this point, I wanted to. We get obviously questions in and shout outs for people. So we did have quite a lot for you actually, and I'm sorry that we probably won't get time to get through all of them. But there's some standout ones that I really, really wanted to talk to you about.
Of course, yeah.
So there is one which I'm not going to read out the name of who it is. I will send it to you separately off camera. But it was a lovely one. It wasn't a question. It was just somebody, and I'm going to read to you what they said, and it chokes me up. So I'm going to have to try and get through it. And obviously, as I say, I will send it, and I'm sure Tina will get in contact with you. But we had somebody wrote in that just wanted to say thank you for being you and for showing people that you can be strong and be yourself, and that it has helped them talk to their family about who they really are and who they want to be and develop, and that they really hope that one day they will get to meet you to thank you in person. So I think that that's a true testament to what you're doing and how, brave you are. I mean, it sounds silly to say that you're brave to be yourself, but it does take strength with what you're doing. Absolutely. And I think that was certainly one that I definitely wanted to read to you to show that you are making a difference to other people. And I think, when we spoke before and you said that you had nobody to turn to in those times, how does it now feel to know that you're somebody people can turn to or look up to? How does that feel? We're all going to get emotional now.
It can be hard. Mm. When I started the Cup of Tea show, there was a few individuals from the local area. I won't say their ages or anything. They were young. Mm. And they contacted me one night on Snapchat saying that they saw my story, that I was a full-fledged drag queen down the road from them, and that they didn't feel alone. And after watching the show, they went to their parents and was saying I was gay. Oh, yeah. And I got the text the following day. And I remember feeling so heartbroken because I was in their position. To the person who wrote that wonderful message, thank you. And I will get in contact with you without a doubt.
Brilliant. But definitely make that happen.
Brilliant, yeah. It's lovely.
It's one of the reasons why I stay doing what I do. It's the reasons why I spend the hours upon hours getting ready.
Must help with the tough times as well, on the days when you think, oh, why am I doing this or anything? It gives a purpose, doesn't it?
It gives a purpose. It gives us... If I didn't have Tina or the show or anything like that, I can hand on heart say I would not be sitting on this camera. Because there was some dark days, very, very dark days during the pandemic. And it was Tina and the show and my friends and my drag family that took me out of the house, without a doubt. And I think it's also a realization to know that there is people out there that are still afraid. Afraid to be who they're. And it goes back to what you said about being brave, about being who you are. It takes a lot for anyone to acknowledge who they are. Whether they're gay, whether they're straight, bisexual, pansexual, whatever. It can be also very hard to be a singer and admit that this is who I want to be. I've seen in the country music industry. I know people in the country music industry that are closeted and that are afraid to come out. I know so many of them.
Or are told they're not allowed to.
And you know what? That's another thing. The amount of times I've encountered over the last few months talking with people in the acting industry, singing industry, dancing, who are gay, or told by their managers to keep their mouths shut. And to be honest with you, my message to anyone out there that is in that position: tell that person 2 words. First one begins with F, second one begins with O. Life is short. There's too many people, I see it with Corona, too many people that aren't able to be who they are, and it's killing them. But no, to be honest with you, it's one of the reasons why I'm able to put on the stuff that I put on, is so that I can definitely reassure myself that I am who I am.
Brilliant.
Now, give us more questions. My life's an open book.
I've got somebody who we both know very, very well, Jill Cosby, has been in contact. Our lovely Jill. Everyone knows Jill, but of course we go to the dances with Jill, and I look after her when she goes over to Ireland. I feel better. She obviously incredibly proud of you, just as the rest of us are. She wants to know, what's the future for your dancing? So I think she was really worried that she's not going to see you at a dance when they start coming. You know, are we going to see Tina out on that dance floor having a jive? At
the moment, I can't really say what's going to be ahead with the world of the pandemic and everything. It's very uncertain. But I'm hoping. Yes, I'm hoping to take Tina to the Abbey Hotel in Donegal and go, okay, here are you.
That's our place. We'll have Rock and Roll Kids is our song, isn't it?
Rock and Roll Kids.
Beautiful waltz. I still can't listen to it without thinking of you.
Can I ask as well about Sean Nós? Because I don't know too much about Sean Nós, let alone the drag scene either. So I'm kind of, I just like to know a little bit more. Like Sean Nós as well is kind of I suppose, a little known part of Irish culture. That's kind of, not many people, like you said, you're the only drag queen that's doing it. But is there many people actually doing it anyway? Is there many people out there doing it? Oh, yes. And so for those that, wherever they are in the world, there's many forms of Irish dancing. There's a lot of people that
people just think of river dance, don't they? They just think that's the Irish dancing.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a form of the Irish dancing. The Sean Nós is, now we first have to take those 2 words, Sean and Nós. So Sean Nós is Gaeilge, it's Irish, for Sean meaning old, Nós meaning tradition or style.
Right.
So it means an old style dancing. It kind of originated in the Gaeltacht regions or the Irish-speaking regions of Ireland. It's
In
a
the West,
very
is it?
old, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's up the west, the north. There's bits in Dublin. It's an old form of dancing. It's kind of like step dancing to a certain degree, but what I call a rougher, less polished, just a natural reaction to the beat. And in the last 10 years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, there was a reemergence of the form of Sean Nós dance. And it became popular. And then in the last 2 years, my God, I've seen so many young people doing Irish dancing because it's...
I mean, at what age did you get into it? You were quite young, weren't you?
Well,
I mean, you're
for
still
me,
young, obviously.
Thank you. I don't feel it, though. I started when I was about 18 in the Sean Nós, and at that stage, I took in everything. But the Sean Nós can run in families. And
okay, from generation to generation.
Yeah. And so some families have their own style. It's like music. It's like the Sliabh Luca, fantastic tradition. There's reels, there's polkas. It's a tradition that's handed down from generation to generation, but still has a quality of that individual. So for the Sean Nós, while it's kind of like Irish dancing, it was all over the place at one stage, but then it became a dying tradition. It died for a long, long time because it wasn't given publicity. There's no elegance, shall we say, to it. There's no wigs, there's no dresses, there's none of that crap.
Fancy show, it's.
You just do it anywhere, don't you? I've seen a video on a dartboard.
That's it. Yes, I danced on the dartboard. Yeah. It's one of the things I love about the Sean Nós because I can take it anywhere with me. It's not. To be honest with you, I feel the Sean Nós is a pure form of Irish dancing because the other forms of Irish dancing have been prostituted for money.
Commercialised.
Yeah. The Irish dancing world is a pageant. For God's sake. The girls wear more makeup than I do, and I'm a bloody drag queen.
All the ringlets and the wigs and this kind of thing, isn't it?
To be honest with you, I fell out with the Irish dancing world a long time ago because I never liked it. It's never liked it. Riverdance, I hate even more with passion.
Sorry,
more
listeners, anyone listening.
Oh, yes. I respect it for what it is, but it was
actually, they work hard at what they do. And
they do. Yeah, they do. No, to be honest with you, the world of Irish dancing, the dancers themselves put in so much work, but it's the gaudiness that can kill it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Look, at the end of the day, it takes it all to, make the world turn around. But with the Irish culture, look, they're promoting the Irish culture in their way. I'm doing it in a different way. I'm still wearing wigs and dresses, just I look more presentable.
Exactly.
Anyway, any more questions?
We're not going to get a chance to get through them all. So there are some that I will send you sort of off camera and things like that. So you can say hi to those people. But we've got a segment that we like to finish up with called Copper's Corner, which I always feel like he's going to read us a story and get his pipe out and things. So I'll pass over to Copper for Copper's Corner.
So it's just my little Copper's Corner. Welcome in. Come in and join me. But I just ask kind of random questions just to kind of get to know you on a basic level. Just say my first question would be, what was the first ever CD that you ever bought?
Oh, that's a good one.
If it's not Dolly Parton now, I'll be disappointed.
It wasn't Dolly. It was the Dubliners.
The Dubliners. That's And what age would you have been?
Christ, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
It was young.
Right. That's a good CD for a young person to buy like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it was my father, because my father used to remembering songs. We'd always remember the first verse and the chorus of any song.
Yeah.
But one song that he always did was "I'll Tell Me Ma." I remember as a child just going, oh. So the Dubliners, I think, was my first CD.
Yeah.
I can probably remember. And then after that, I could remember, I actually remember as a teenager, the first proper CD I bought was Dolly Parton, Blue Smoke. when that was released back in, I think it was 2014. I think that was my first one I can actually remember.
And tell me, if you were throwing a dinner party and you could pick 3 people from any time in history, alive or dead, who would you pick and why?
Oh, I like it. I like those type of questions. Except it makes my mind think, so my mind is going,
Although this is where we get upset if we're not invited to the dinner party. I don't need an invite. I'll just turn up.
Yeah, well, that's true. And then Copper will probably do the music anyway. So
well, there we go. There we go. I just turn up for the drink.
There you go. Okay, 3 people. Dolly.
Oh yeah,
gotta have Dolly.
What biggest, most popular dinner guest so far, isn't it? With 3 or 4 people.
She's
said
busy.
Dolly.
She's booked up. Is Dolly?
Yeah.
No, that sounds like Auntie Dolly. After that, Johnny Cash.
Oh,
nice.
Yes. He'd be on my list as well.
And the third one. Oh, Shaguli. I think just based on my name, I have to invite Tina Turner.
Oh, of
wow.
course.
That's a powerful table, isn't it? Like there could be a power struggle at that table.
That's a great friends.
You know, Tina be simply the best. Dolly's working 9 to 5 and Johnny's always walking his line.
Oh, there we go.
Here we are.
And I'm still drinking at the bar.
And if you were marooned on a desert island and you were waiting for ages and ages for rescue, let's say, and you had 3 CDs to pass the time with that you could listen to again and again and again, what 3 CDs would they be?
Okay. So, number 1. I'll go with the greatest hits or the essential hits of Dolly.
Oh,
number 1.
Can't go wrong.
Not a surprise.
Number 2. It'll be Derek Ryan and his album. Oh, sugar, he's going to fucking kill me now. I think it's The Fire. Am I right?
Yeah, there is the one called The Fire.
The one with the single Fox on it. That CD I have on repeat.
Yeah.
And the third one. I'm trying to think what CD. Oh my God. I think the third one would be actually, and this is a funny one. Essential hits of Joe Dolan.
Joe Dolan.
Oh.
Good looking woman and all that, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a sweet little rock and roller. Over the last over Corona, there's a lot of artists that started listening to again because when you become a drag queen, you don't really listen to you know, the stuff that I was used to listen to. But you know what? Over the Corona, there's a lot of albums I've listened to, a lot of Irish country music singers. But the one that sticks out to me the most, and it was on her videos, was actually Bernie Heaney. Bernie's latest album, The Irish Collection, I love and adore. But my 3 definitely Derek, Dolly, and Joe.
Dolan. The 3 Ds.
Oh, yeah.
And my last question. My last question for Copper's Corner then. I always ask this. We get varied responses. We had a great response from Gary Gamble there recently. But that's a whole other story. But do you have any ghost stories for us?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go.
We have another winner.
Get comfortable.
And this is the crazy one. So, being a drag queen, I have lots of wigs. And every wig I put on a head.
You say your hair's showing me off. I'm feeling very flat today. I wish I'd have made more of an effort.
But I'll show you what I mean. So when I take off a wig, 1 second, I get it here. I put it on a head. Right?
Yes.
Well, one night I had a very broken sleep and started hallucinating. And it was on painkillers and everything at the time. I remember I woke up And in my dream I think it was so I'm planning a tour to Tennessee, and Dolly, of course, is in my head. And the hair was basically facing me. So when I woke up and sat up, all I could see was back and hair. And then I closed my eyes, and it was actually on the other side of the room. So I don't know why, that's my only kind of thing. Apart from that, I remember it was in, the only other ghost story I can kind of think of was when I was actually in a bar. I was in a pub in Connemara, and I just thought I saw a shadow of a man walk by me.
Right.
And I just at the time, half cut, of course, I just assumed that it was. I remember poking the guy beside me and going, "Who's that?" "No one." That's my two ghost stories. One's as bad as the other. Goes to show.
Do you believe in the ghosts?
I'll believe in wherever I have to believe to make sure I get to the other side.
That's a good way of looking at it.
You'll answer the questions correctly.
Oh, yeah. No, because if I don't believe and a ghost does show up going like, "Now who has the last laugh?" I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, my nan used to say that. My nan used to say that about everything. She used to say with religion, ghosts, everything. She said, "Wouldn't you rather have a little bit of belief just in case you need it at the end?"
Yeah.
And they do say that everyone turns religious at the end. Everybody prays at the end of their life.
I pray just getting up in the morning just so I look half decent. But you know what's funny, actually, and it is the thing there about religion. Before every show, I'll still bless myself.
Oh, yeah.
Before every show. I did it as a guy, but as Tina, I still do it before every show. Even if it's two halves, I'll still do it before each half.
Wow.
Right.
Because it's just having that little bit of, for me, for faith, like religion thing with our community, just very bad history, as you know, between the Catholic Church and our community.
Yeah.
So my faith has kind of changed a little bit, but I always still have a bit of faith.
Yeah.
Something to believe in.
You have to have that, don't you?
It gives you, it gives you a crutch to help you through dark days.
Yeah.
And that's the
There's
way
a
I
lot
look.
of dark days at the moment in the world, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I love being a drag queen. Everyone loves a drag queen. And if they don't, God help them. They don't want to get one anyway.
Well, I think on that, it rounds up our amazing interview with you, Tina. And we have learned so much. Even me, who felt that I knew you, I've learned so much. And I'm sure that all of our viewers and listeners have really taken to you as much as myself and Copper.
Absolutely.
And a huge well done on everything that you're doing. You really are an inspiration to so many people, more than you know, and, various different communities around the world. So please keep it up. And I really hope we can have you back on one day.
Oh my God, yes.
And where can people find you on the socials, Tina?
Oh God, usually I'm the one that has to ask people that. Now I have to actually think, why is my socials? So for the simplest way, it's on Facebook, on Instagram, Snapchat, OnlyFans, all Tina D. Parton. And it's Parton, like Dolly, not Party, like someone did think. That's a long story.
Are you on TikTok, Tina?
I am on the tickety talk. This hip hop old granny had to go and join it. Now I wish I never did. Oh, for fun.
We'll have to do a duet on there with you, yourself and Copper and me, and it'll all be good.
Oh my God, yes. So yes, on TikTok, on Facebook also for our show is Cup of Tea with Tina D. On Facebook, on Twitch, we are the Cup of Tea Show. On YouTube, Cup of Tea Show. And if we're on anything else, God only knows. I think on Pornhub, it's Dolly Turner.
And on Most Wanted.
Oh God, yes. Most wanted. It's me, Hall Martin.
I have to say as well, I saw your Facebook. You reached the 5,000 friend limit there recently.
Oh God,
so I'm glad I got in there
so
before
many
you.
Times.
Oh, you have. Oh, so you have to go back and now
filter
go
through,
through
see
it
if we make the cut.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of angry homosexuals out there. I'm just like, you're not valuable enough. Bye bye.
Yeah.
But for those, if anyone does try to add me on Facebook and the thing doesn't let you add me, go to the Facebook page, the Cup of Tea with Tina D, and everything I post on Facebook is on there also.
Brilliant.
Fabulous. Well, it's been an amazing interview, Tina, and I'm sure Copper will agree. He's learned quite a bit today.
I have, absolutely. It's fantastic talking to you. Thanks very much for coming on.
Sure, he's looking at a woman with a 45-inch bust. Sure. Of course he's a happy man.
Oh, he's got two.
Two, yeah.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. 2 blondes. Oh, yeah.
I'm glad we didn't wear the same, actually. I was a bit worried.
To be honest with you, I had no clue either. So my wonderful drag daughter, Air, was getting ready with me because we have the show after this, and she was like, "What are you wearing for your interview?" I'm like, "Oh, sugar. I didn't think that far ahead." I'm like, I had the hair, I had the necklace, I had the
priorities.
Yeah, I had the priorities. To be honest with you, I was very tempted coming on me little nighty-ighty. And I was like, oh no, someone might look at that and get too excited. I wouldn't like to do my heart.
Well, that's it. We've got to keep Copper focused.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean copper, but yeah.
The shoe fits.
Oh God, yes. But no, I want to say a massive thank you to you both for having me on. And Absolutely. To those that sent in the questions, thank you very, very let me rewind it. To those that sent in the questions, thank you so much. And I know that, as you said, there's a few I didn't get to answer, but if anyone does have any questions, do feel free to drop me a message on Facebook and Instagram, and I will reply. And in the words of Dolly, I will always love you too. I think.
So that was our interview with Tina D. Parton. I hope you enjoyed that. We both learned so much, and it was absolute roller coaster of emotions, as you said at the start, Joe. Did you enjoy that as much as I did?
I did indeed, definitely. And I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to Tina D. Parton for trusting us to tell her story. And it's been an absolute honour for, the Folkin Around podcast to be able to give her a platform to, talk about herself and her life and her journey. Absolutely.
Of course, it's all about being all-inclusive on the Folkin Around podcast. And it's a big happy family. But let me see now what we're doing now. We'll go to our weekly segment of Album Club. So, Joe, what did you suggest for me to listen to this last week?
I suggested to you an album by All Folked Up. And I keep going with the Irish theme. You'll be pleased to know my recommendation for this week actually isn't an Irish theme, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, All Folked Up. I'm a massive, massive fan of them. Would love to get them on the show if they're listening. But what did you think? Yeah, absolutely. Really like it. It was Jaw Back the Curtain was the album that you suggested. And it was, 2016 it was released, about 10 songs. And it's not typically the kind of album that I would have normally picked up and listened to. But I did listen through it about maybe 2 or 3 times, and it did really start to grow on me. The whole folk aspect to it, the fiddles and the banjos. You pick different things out, don't you? The more times you listen to it, you hear little extra bits with it. That's what I find. Yeah. And they're kind of, I suppose, very nice melodic songs. The vocals are very melodic. And I say Take My Hand, the second song on the album, probably the standout track to me. For some reason, you might think I'm absolutely mad, but when I hear that song, I kind of envision Phil Collins singing on, the Tarzan soundtrack. It's something, it's just kind of, it reminds me of it for some reason. I'm not saying it sounds anything like it, but if you maybe if you take out the fiddle and the banjo, it's kind of the vocal melodies are kind of that inspiring Phil Collins kind of
vibe that you had.
So I'm going to
on
go
there.
back and listen to it now with that in my mind, and I'll either tell you that you're crazy or that I get it.
I might be absolutely mad, and I might be the only person to hear that, but it's just that particular song, the chorus of it, kind of struck me that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they have a particularly country song on it. Most of them are kind of folk-inspired pop songs, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate kind of pigeonholing a band in a certain genre, and this,
I mean, the name kind of gives their way to folk, doesn't it? Really, to be fair.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, we're a country music podcast, and we're
exactly. But they do have, I suppose, a country song there, the country music night, and they're singing about doing reels and jigs all night and that kind of stuff. And hopefully we'll be all back doing that in no time at all. And I think another standout track was Reels on it. It was like the instrumental track. It was the second last track.
You love an instrumental, don't you?
I do. I can't say I don't. So it was like shredding banjo, shredding guitar and fiddle. And it's very good, very good. I think the only drawback with drawing back the curtain is, see how I did there? The only drawback is...
I was laughing, I promise.
Yeah. I suppose when I put my sound engineer ears on, I'm listening to the whole mix and the sonic stage and the whole sound of the album. And I think it kind of is lacking in production quality, where it's very kind of small, I suppose, sound. And you can hear the vocals lovely up through the center, but the rest of the band is kind of slotted in behind the singer in a small box, and you can't really place the instruments in the mix so well. But I'd say like most of the album would benefit from, big wide soundstage, especially Reels. You had that instrumental. But they did obviously up their game on the production quality. Their new single, Boston Rose, I think was already released just a few months ago. But the sound quality is perfect. It's big, wide open. You can pick the fiddle out is over there, the banjo's over there. And
we all start somewhere, don't we?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. But I'm only listening from my sound engineer ears. A lot of people, our listeners might not even notice it when they listen to it. But if you listen to it now, you might notice it. I don't know. But that's not to take away from the album. The album itself is smasher. It's solid from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. And thanks for suggesting that. But what I suggested last week for you to listen to was Imaginary Appalachia by Coulter Wall. As a small 20-minute EP.
It was really small, It was 7 minutes. It wasn't too bad, but 23 minutes long.
23 minutes, 7 songs.
I could manage that.
Perfect. Jodie's a bit of a problem doing her homework, so I have to kind of get onto her.
A busy woman.
Yes. But what did you think of Coulter Wall? Have you heard him before?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't heard his name, hadn't heard him before. I'm always very nervous. As you know, we again, this is what I really, really like about the podcast and the different people we have on, and both between yourself and I, is we all love country music, but there's so many different styles of country music, and we all have a country music style that, we favor over others. And, we both have always said that we've got very different country sort of like tastes and things like that. So I haven't always liked everything that's been not liked, but you know what I mean? It hasn't been something I would reach for.
Away. Yeah,
exactly. This actually really was my cup of tea. I was really...
We have a winner.
I know, it's surprising. Like, it probably won't happen again. No, I really, really liked this. Like, some of the songs in it, like, again, it's a bit of a journey. Even for 7 songs, there's still a bit of a journey of different sort of styles and things like that. And I just realised it says on here, because I was going to ask you whether you knew who it was. The song Caroline was a standout song for me. I just thought the female vocals on there, and I was actually going to ask if you knew who the female was on here, but it says here it's Belle Plain.
Okay.
Don't know if you know Belle Plain.
I don't. I know. Other than this song, I didn't know her.
Yeah, but that was a real standout for me. It was just a really, really nice song. I actually listened to it 3 times, which, you know me, I do not listen to songs more than once. I'm somebody that listens once and I either take to it or I don't. You're very different, aren't you? You take a few goes at listening to things.
I do. Like, I suppose, I've had many bands over the years and, albums and stuff. I might not like it at all at first. And I know that this band is good or whatever, but I didn't like that particular album. But I give it like 2 or 3 listens and it's like my favorite album of all time all of a sudden. You have to appreciate the subtleties.
I'm very different. I can know within a couple of you know, a couple of seconds into it, a couple of bars in, I'll be like, oh, this is me, this isn't. But yeah, I just thought Caroline, standout one, her female vocals just complemented his voice is just so unique, isn't it? Because it's
definitely.
so country, but it's still really soft and soothing and not that sort of, wrong word, but that dirty country voice that, you know, there's so many have. That was, you know, a real standout. That song particularly will be staying on my playlist. You'll be pleased to know. The other one, Sleeping on the Blacktop, I think, was that a single I think I saw? That it was. I think that was a single release of it. Yeah. Again, that was, I didn't know initially actually whether that was going to be another instrumental. I thought he's given me another song, another album that starts an instrumental, because the start to that is still very soothing, very, very nice. It's, you know, probably that is down my playlist actually, because my playlist tends to just play in the car when I'm on a long journey or something like that. And it's, it was just all like, it was just good. I'm so bad with words describing things, aren't I? But no, I really, really enjoyed it. I think people should go and check it out. And there was one song on it, and I can't remember which song it is, and you'll know as soon as I tell you. But there's a song that sounds quite happy, but it's actually really dark lyrics about like a rope and tree and things.
Yeah. It could be maybe Ballad of a Law-Abiding Sophisticate. Something like that.
I can't remember which one it actually was, because it's a lot of the songs, a lot of the song titles aren't in the song, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That one was quite a dark one. You do like a dark track.
I do. I don't know why it is, but you know, it's like a dark kind of deep song, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like the happy ones, of course, as well.
Yeah, I loved it. So so well done you.
Clap on the back.
Don't often say that, guys.
Yeah, I actually didn't like my last week's one, Sturgill Simpson, but I suppose a point about Sturgill Simpson, he's the kind of singer that you might have to read along with the lyrics to while you're listening to. He's kind of, that's the guy I mentioned last week. Like there's a lot of them. But this week's suggestion I have for you is actually Irish, and you're going the other direction.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm excited.
Where are you going this week? What suggestion do you have for me?
So my suggestion for you is probably my favourite country singer ever.
Oh, okay.
So you have to like this album.
So no pressure. Then. No pressure, yeah.
So this is Reba McEntire and her album Read My Mind, which was released in 2019. There's a couple of newer songs on there, and then there's sort of re-recorded older classic, beautiful Reba songs.
Oh, good.
Great album, great singer. I really wanted to give you her greatest hits one, which is about 56 songs long, just because they're all amazing, and I wanted to give you a long one, but we went for Read My Mind, so that's your homework for this week.
Yeah, because I don't think I actually ever sat down and listened to her properly. I'm aware of her, obviously. Oh, really? She's a massive force in the country music scene.
Huge, yeah.
This is a good excuse.
And an actress as well. She's done some acting work as well.
Oh, yeah.
She did a great song, actually. It's a great song from a film. So the film was called Forever Love, and she did a song called Forever Love. And I mean, this is going back. I was at school. I want to say this was like the late 90s.
Yeah.
And it was she played an amazing part, and Reba's known for this big red hair that she's got, and particularly back then it was really big and long and everything, and she had it cut, had all her hair cut off. But the film, just briefly, we're going on to film recommendations. You should all go and watch it because it's amazing. It's about, she plays a woman who goes into a coma, and she's in a coma for 20 years, and she wakes up, and obviously life has changed, and there's like a really funny scene where, I say funny, it's like, it would be awful to be real life, but like she goes to a cafe and somebody's talking into a mobile phone. Of course, she has no idea what a mobile phone is. And
a baby cow. Did you say
calf? What do you say?
Cafe.
Calf.
Okay.
She went to a cafe for a coffee.
A calf is a baby cow.
It's a calf.
Oh, it's a calf. Okay.
Anyway, we are don't know where this is going. But yeah, so anyway, watch the film Forever Love, and I'm going to make that your homework now. And the album Read My Mind. What am I listening to, Copper?
Right, I'm actually going Irish. And the first female suggestion I've had as well. All my others have been either American or Canadian men. But now this week is Sienna Thiel's EP, Leaving Nancy. As I think it's 4 songs. So again, you don't have too much homework this week, Joe. So it's I
think I might have already heard it, but I will give it. I'll give it another listen for you.
Well done. You can listen to it with
easy homework for me.
More critical ears this time, then I suppose. But, so Sienna Thiel and Leaving Nancy, and that's both our recommendations for this week. So if you're listening along, please let us know what you thought of it. You can comment on our Facebook or send us an email to folkinaroundpodcast@gmail.com. But where can the lovely people find us on the socials, Joe, if they are looking for us?
So we are on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, and we are at Folkin Around Podcast, and we are on Twitter, which is at Folkin Around Pod.
Perfect. And where can they find yourself?
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Welcome to Jodie Land. And this whole thing has just been picking on my accent, isn't it? Like,
I haven't even.
I'll let you all into a secret. He's had a little bit of a drink before we filmed this, so I think this is why he's got a bit cheeky.
Mouthfuls.
A little bit cheeky, guys. So we'll let him off. But yeah, my Twitter, because I use it so often, is at Welcome to Jodie. So there we go. Okay. Where can people find you, Copper?
Perfect. I've actually kind of changed a few of my usernames to make them all more similar.
Nagged him enough.
Yeah. So on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok, I'm Copper Kelly Music. But Twitter had to go be awkward and not allow me to use Copper Kelly Music because it's too long. So it's Copper Kelly IRL, Ireland. It's Copper Kelly IRL. So that's where you can find us. And you can find me on Spotify and iTunes. My music is out there and all that good stuff. And YouTube as well, Copper Kelly on YouTube. There you go. So I think that wraps up our episode for this week. Joe, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to once again say thank you for listening in to this, probably the episode that we're most proud of that we've done. And a huge thank you again to Tina for telling us her story. And I'm sure we'll have her back one day.
That wraps up our episode this week. Lovely people that are listening to us all the way to the end. Thank you very much for that, by the way. But without further ado, I suppose we'll say bye, Folkers.
Bye.